He left something behind. The night Nancy Guthrie disappeared from her home in Catalina Foothills, Arizona, a doorbell camera caught a masked man on her porch. He wasn't holding a flashlight in his hand. He had it in his mouth, between his teeth. A bite flashlight, the kind you use when you need both hands free. And when you bite down on something like that, you may leave saliva behind. Saliva can mean DNA. That flashlight has reportedly been sitting in evidence for 72 days. And now CeCe Moore, the genetic genealogist who helped identify the Golden State Killer, is pointing to one thing. That flashlight could be critical to this case. I'm going to show you why. February 1st, middle of the night, Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old, living alone. A masked figure walks up to her porch. The doorbell camera captures him. He's got a flashlight clenched between his teeth, both hands free. He appears to try the door. What happens next? We still don't fully know, but Nancy hasn't been seen since. That camera footage is the closest thing investigators have to seeing the suspect in real time. And that flashlight in his mouth may be one of the most important pieces of physical evidence in this entire case. Let me tell you who CeCe Moore is, because her name matters here. She's the genetic genealogist who helped crack the Golden State Killer case. Joseph DeAngelo. Decades of dead ends, no match in any database. And Moore's team used DNA and genetic genealogy to identify him. She's worked on hundreds of cases, cold cases, cases people thought would never be solved. When she says a piece of evidence could matter, people listen. Law enforcement listens. And this week, on NewsNation, she pointed directly at that bite flashlight. Her argument is straightforward. When you hold a flashlight in your mouth, you produce saliva, a lot of it. Someone contacted Moore after the interview and said they'd used one of those flashlights before. Their point was that it would be very difficult not to leave saliva behind. Moore agreed. So if that flashlight was collected and is in evidence right now, investigators may already have a direct biological lead tied to the man on that porch. Not just behavioral analysis, not just circumstantial theory, a piece of physical evidence that could become far more important if testing confirms usable DNA. But here's the part that doesn't add up. Why hasn't this been done already? 72 days. The flashlight is on camera. According to Moore, saliva is very likely to be on it. She's publicly saying it could help solve the case. So why are we still here? That question matters because recent coverage and commentary from former investigators have raised concerns about whether this case has moved with enough coordination and urgency. The sheriff cleared the family this week. That's progress. But it also puts even more weight on the physical evidence. In a case like this, every item collected matters. Every delay matters. Moore's public statement isn't just analysis, it's pressure. She's telling investigators, in front of the entire country, that the answer may already be sitting in an evidence room. No confession needed. No witness needed. Start with the flashlight. And that pressure matters even more when you look at what else came out this week. A former FBI agent told Newsweek the likely motive may have been retribution. A criminal profiler told the New York Post something similar. If those assessments are right, the suspect may have had a connection to Nancy or her family. That would make identification even more urgent. And if usable DNA is recovered from the flashlight, investigators may have more than one path forward. If the suspect has a prior qualifying record, the sample could potentially be compared through CODIS, the FBI's DNA index system. If there is no direct criminal database match, genetic genealogy could still help build a path through family connections. The same general method Moore has helped use in other cases. A former prosecutor also told AOL this week that the kidnapper was most likely a repeat offender. No witnesses. Nobody saw anything. Nobody heard anything. In a residential neighborhood, that kind of precision may point to someone with experience, even if investigators have not publicly confirmed that theory. The family isn't waiting around either. The $1 million reward is still active. JLR Investigates ran a live search at the top of a mountain near the border this week. 86,000 people watched. Public pressure on this case is not fading, and at the center of all of it sits a flashlight, a bite flashlight that a masked man held between his teeth the night he walked on to Nancy Guthrie's porch, the night an 84-year-old woman vanished from her home. A flashlight that one of the most respected DNA experts in the world says could help give investigators a name. A flashlight that has reportedly been in evidence for 72 days. The evidence may already be there. The DNA may already be waiting. CeCe Moore just made sure the whole world knows it. Now the question is simple. Will it get tested? If you think there's something investigators should be looking at that we haven't covered, put it in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't. The next update on this case could be the one we've been waiting for. I'll see you in the next one.